Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to not really recap, but just give a review of Real Housewives of Potomac, part one of the reunion. And if you guys follow me, you know that I started recapping Real Housewives of Potomac around episode 4 or 5. And I didn't even bother to recap the last 2 episodes because this season was so uneventful. And when they got to bickering and going back and forth over who planned the trip to Bermuda, I was so turned off that I just couldn't even be bothered with the rest of this. And it was just so crazy. And then when they got back home, how they just like went in on Karen because Karen wouldn't tell them the truth about why she was moving or what was going on in her life. And they were just so mean and catty. And then it was just like made up cattiness. It wasn't like, you know, the cattiness we see on other shows where it seems more natural. But it was just, they were trying too hard. Not sure if there's going to be another season of Real Housewives of Potomac because, to be quite honest, they don't deserve another season for this show. But anyway, the bits and pieces of the reunion, which I don't understand why there's 2 parts to the reunion, but there is. But the bits and pieces, they were still going back and forth, you know, taking jabs at each other. They were upset, you know, because Karen won't tell them the truth about why she sold the house or why she moved, you know, what's going on with her finances. And if you follow the blogs, you know they're reporting that the reason they sold the house is because, what's her husband's name? Ray owed $1.8 million to the IRS on his personal taxes, I think it was. So they sold the house to cover the tax bill. And one of the blogs that I was looking at, they actually had their tax records listed. And so they paid their taxes. I mean, like a couple of years ago, the taxes was over $2 million and they satisfied that. You know, I'm thinking if your taxes are in the millions of dollars or close to $1 million, then you are probably earning a really big income. And even his business taxes were real high, so that means that his business is probably, you know, pretty profitable. And I don't know if he still has the business because he's like 70 years old, but I commend anybody who takes the necessary steps to satisfy their financial obligations opposed to putting on airs. And remember how on Married to Medicine, where Toya and her husband owed, they only owed like $170,000, you know, but she didn't want to sell the house. She was trying to keep up the lifestyle that they had, you know, putting up fronts when they owed the IRS this money. And I'm thinking $170,000 is nothing compared to $1.8 million. So I commend Karen and her husband for selling the house if that was going to pay the bill. I commend them for whatever steps they're taking. And she doesn't owe these women any explanation, even if they are on this show. And I wouldn't be telling anybody my personal business who's calling me names and talking about me behind my back. So the other thing was Monique and Giselle. Monique really showed how immature she was on this reunion because her only clapback to Giselle was saying things like, Giselle, you know, at least her husband played football and they got their money from football. You know, they weren't taking the 10% tithes from the church to support their lifestyle. And I'm like, look, girl, what are you talking about? So first of all, Jamal has been in the news several times for infidelities, for cheating, for allegedly having kids out of wedlock. But I have never ever read a report where Pastor Jamal Bryant has been accused of misappropriating funds from his church, from stealing funds from his church, from Giselle taking money from the church to live a certain lifestyle. Pastors, like any CEO of any business, are paid a salary that is set by the church. And yes, that salary does come from the tithes and offering, but that's just like running a business, and the merchandise that you sell at the business pays the salaries of the people who work at the business. So just like the secretary is getting paid from the tithes, the accountant is being paid from the tithes, the rent on the building is being paid from the tithes, so is the pastor's salary. So maybe Monique just has friends who are ministers and she doesn't really belong to a church or attend the church, but that's pretty much how it works, Monique. So I can assure you that Giselle was not married to a pastor so that she could be taking the 10% tithes and living a lavish lifestyle. So you need to grow up and stop with that. And it just really made you more annoying on the reunion than you were in the entire season. And what happened to you and Giselle supposedly mending fences? And then I have to commend Giselle. So I don't know if Giselle actually had a comeback for Monique when she was making those comments, or if they just edited it out, but Giselle never responded to her. And I'm like, that's how a real boss chick handles it. Let you sit there, make a fool out of yourself, and just sit back and be like, whatever, girl. And so what else? Oh, then Ashley and Robin kept going back and forth about the whole Juan issue. And I'm just going to say that Ashley is deflecting from her own miserable marriage, and that's why she's all over Robin. But if Robin is happy staying in that relationship with Juan and she wants to try and fix it and make it work, then more power to Robin. Robin, don't get yourself upset over this little girl, because from the looks of things, she ain't going to be married too much longer either. And that was pretty much, I mean, just other than the little insignificant jabs and going back and forth and name calling, there was nothing of substance to this reunion. And I'm thinking that the only thing that's going to save part 2 is that the men are actually going to come out during part 2, I think. Or did I miss them coming out in part 1? But anyway, we'll see what part 2 holds, but I'm sure it won't be much. So that's it for me, guys. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I hope everyone has an awesome week. And I should talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.